Colourful Radio.
Afternoon, and welcome back. We are live here down at Pop Brixton, celebrating all things Windrush for Windrush Day down in Brixtonian. Yeah. I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Janelle. I almost forgot then. I'm so used to being on my own.
Did you forget my name?
Oh, I forgot she was here. Not your name, but here. But yeah, we're continuing the celebrations. As you can probably hear in the background, the steel pans are going off. And we are here to speak with our next guest, Ryan Matthews Robinson, founder of Poetic Unity, and Jacqueline Gomez, also part of the Poetic Unity team. So welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, you're most welcome.
Hello.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not bad, thank you, not bad.
Yeah, it's a good day today, isn't it? The sun's shining, the vibes are right. I'm feeling good.
You're looking good too, girl.
Yeah.
I'm loving the green.
Loving it.
Yeah, looking really good. We're very apt for the Windrush Day, colourful and all that good stuff. So we're here to tell us a little bit about the work that you guys have been doing. You're Brixton-based, right?
Yeah.
And you're a charity. You set up in 2015?
Yeah,
I know that
right.
much. Okay, the rest is over to you guys.
Doing some research, yeah?
The rest is over to you guys. So tell us a little bit about what Poetic Unity is all about.
So I founded Poetic Unity 2015. As you said, it's based in Brixton. I grew up in Brixton, so did Jacqueline. And yeah, for me, like Poetic Unity, the main thing that we do is give a voice to the voiceless. We use poetry as a tool to give young people a voice, also to support their mental health, their education, personal development, and community cohesion. And in essence, poetry is our tool. Like, you know what I mean? We use poetry for everything that we do. Any workshop, any event, poetry is at the heart of what we do. So, yeah, I'll let Jacqueline give her view on what Poetry Unity is as well.
Yeah.
To you.
So we run a lot of workshops with young people and with the community. We even run intergenerational workshops. The point of the workshops are to encourage community cohesion, young people's physical health, mental well-being, and some other things that we work on. But it's been a journey working with Poetic Unity. I've been here since about March now.
Okay.
And the impact that I've seen with young people just expressing themselves creatively through poetry, whether that's in a school, whether that's down at the BCA where we operate from, it's just been amazing, really.
Yeah.
So you guys are based out of the BCA, which is brilliant. What better place to be based in the heart of Brixton? For those of you who aren't familiar with the BCA, who are listening out there, it's the Black Cultural Archives, right by Windrush Square, aptly named Windrush Square for today.
Yeah.
But I'm just really intrigued. You both look very young, okay? So
Thank you.
First of all, for you, Ryan, 2015 is a little while ago, so you were even younger. How, as such a young person, you've got this idea to start a charity? Where did that come from?
I mean, I'll be honest, growing up in Brixton, I never thought about running a charity. It kind of came just through my grandma having Alzheimer's. And that kind of inspired me to support other people other than myself. So I used to volunteer for Alzheimer's Society charity for 4 years. I started doing that when I was about 22. And then through doing that work, I realized the importance of we instead of I. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's where I really started to understand how important it is to support the community and not just myself. And also the power of that, do you know what I'm saying? And I've always written spoken word or music. And then when I started to get heavy into spoken word, I started to see the power of spoken word and how it can help young people, not just with giving them a voice, but also, their mental health and education. So I'll be honest, like I said, it was never a dream of mine to start a charity. I don't think many, Brixtonians who are young, are thinking about that. But it was through the pain that I went through my grandma, really changed me as a person, do you know what I mean? And then I started going to schools, doing talks and stuff like that. And then I started to really grow this appetite to help the community, do you know what I'm saying? So for me, it came from that pain, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm not as young as you think. I know I look younger than...
You do look young.
Yeah. I started Poetic Unity when I was 26.
Okay.
So that gives you an idea of how old I am now.
You're still young.
Yeah.
You're still young.
Young ting.
I'll take that.
So why, just touching on the Alzheimer's things, that's, I've been through it myself with my grandma. So, commending to you for actually wanting to share and transmute that pain into something so positive, firstly. But also, why poetry specifically? 'Cause you mentioned music, but then you said, you know, spoken word was like your love. What is it about poetry that do you think that is, you know, effective in helping these young people and yourself?
I think like with music, it's, for example, like when I was younger, I used to go to open mics and perform at music events.
Yeah.
And like, you know, if you're, I'll go there, sometimes I'll see people get booed, sometimes you
That's
see
what I was
people.
going to say, it's not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah, it's not for the faint-hearted, and
Of
people were
course.
talking during their set
Yeah.
and things like that. Whereas when you go to a spoken word event, no matter what the level or the talent of the person, the audience is supportive.
Right.
And they're there to support the people. And that's kind of what Poetic Unity is all about as well. Do you know what I'm saying? We're not here to judge anybody. We want people to be their authentic selves. And I saw that with poetry, that you can actually be your authentic selves. And also it strips away the music and allows you to really get at the heart of what you're trying to say. Whereas sometimes with music, it's more about, you know, a club thing or something like that. Whereas with poetry and spoken word, it's usually from the heart and it's something that's quite meaningful. What do you think? About spoken word, how does it help young people?
For me, so I have a background in, I was the first ever female youth mayor of Lambeth. And
Say that again, sorry?
female youth mayor of Lambeth.
Oh, wow, okay.
Thank you.
That's just, yeah.
Thanks. But
I was just going to say that. I need one of those buttons. I need one of those buttons, please. Yeah.
yeah, but that was my way of, so I grew up in Brixton, as Ryan said, and
Yeah.
running to be the youth mayor was my way of trying to get my voice heard.
Yes.
Then I started running at the age of 13, and a lot of my community were behind me, and I was representing the voices of my peers and myself and what we were going through. So that was my way of expressing myself then. And then I went on a long journey of studying politics at uni, working in parliament, even working for a government minister. And I realized, actually, I'm not making any change here, and I don't feel like my voice is being heard. So then I started to look for other avenues. I started to write poetry. And then I thought, oh, Ryan runs Poetic Unity. I saw he put up a job post, and it was less money than what I was earning before. But I thought, this is my purpose.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do, and this is what I want to help other young people do. So I just went for it, and I've honestly just enjoyed it so much. I used to be a silent poet, as Ryan says. I used to write but never perform.
Not perform, yeah.
And I think today's my first paid performance. So it's incredible seeing that journey. And there are other young women who are here today who are performing, and that's their way of creatively expressing themselves. And yeah, it's fantastic.
Right, so you just mentioned, so you'll be part of the performance today?
Yeah, so
Your
I
first debut.
I wrote a poem on the Windrush generation. I'm really just so happy to share it because I feel like I've been a part of like Caribbean culture growing up in Brixton. It heavily impacted on me. And I think it's the reason why I have a voice today. All my friends were from Jamaica, and they would encourage me like, Jacqueline, go and speak about this. Jacqueline, say this. Or the parents, the aunties would be like, Jacqueline, come on, say something.
Yeah.
And that really encouraged me to be who I am today. It was the catalyst, to be fair, yeah.
Do you know what I think is really special about what you've just shared, Jacqueline, is that you had your dreams and aspirations, and you said you went on a journey, and you know, still at quite a young age, you're still on a journey. We're all on a journey.
Absolutely.
But from what you've shared, your community was behind you, and it almost sounds like they were the fuel behind your passion and your desire, and you wanting to give back to your community, wanting to contribute, wanting to make a change, but also there was an exchange there. And this is what really we are here, and the Windrush generation and the Windrush Day celebration is all about, because it's about that you mentioned the intergenerational thing. We spoke about that a bit earlier, didn't we, Isla?
Yeah,
and it's that exchange of the young, bridging those gaps, and also encouraging people to go out and do something meaningful. So it's really nice and inspiring to hear you share that.
Yeah, and if anyone's hearing this, like, just
definitely
go
are.
out.
They
Like,
definitely
go out. Like, there's a saying, each one teach one, and it's what Ryan was saying. It's not just about one, it's about we. And I've realized the importance of that. Like, when I was on my journey, when I was working in Parliament, I felt very lonely. And I looked around me, and a lot of the people there looked very lonely too. And that wasn't happiness for me. Happiness for me is now being in the community, seeing people grow, me growing, and we're just loving each other and sharing that kind of passion together. and just growing together. That's the best thing you can do. So yeah, I think today is definitely enforcing that message of we over I. Each one, teach one.
Yeah.
Take your community with you.
Yes, absolutely. Also, I wanted just to ask you, like, obviously you spoke about the poetry being from the heart. Today is obviously Windrush Day. How did you come about to sort of piece together the one that you'll do today, the poem that you'll do today? How did you go about collecting that information to put together your performance for today?
Yeah, so my first step was I got the topic from Ryan. It was Windrush Day.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, what does Windrush Day mean to me? Did a bit of research and then figured out, oh, actually, I live in the heart of Brixton. So I thought all my experiences, what I associate with the Windrush generation, which is for me the food, the culture. And then I thought, okay, what are the little bits I want to put in here? Then I just started with, I thought, okay, I'd love to say thank you to the generation who made that path and came here.
Yeah.
So I started with, I just want to say thank you. And then I thought, okay, why do I want to say thank you? And then I said, okay, I want to say thank you because what you did, Priti Patel and the people that tried to send you back would never have the courage to do.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of went from there and then dug out some research, put in the facts, and then connected it to me. So yeah, a mixture of facts, connection to me, and I looked at it as, okay, what's the past? What was it like when they came here? What was it like when they arrived here? And what has the impact been? And then I kind of sectioned it like that. So yeah, just a bit of a structure. Think about how it relates to you, how the topic relates to you, and then fill it in with the details and what you think is important to communicate.
Okay.
Rags will definitely have better tips on this, so I'm going to pass on the mic because I'm still a fairly new writer.
No, that sounds
What do you think,
pretty
Rags?
good. I was actually going to ask you, Ryan, what's your strategy for teaching the young people who've never experienced or never written poetry before? I want to know, to be honest, what are the steps to create such a beautiful, poetic piece of work?
I think people overcomplicate poetry.
Yeah.
It's literally your thoughts on a page. That's what I always
But
tell
doesn't it
people.
have to rhyme and?
No, that's the thing. That's what I always tell young people. It doesn't have to rhyme.
No.
No. I could, if you gave me
Similes and all that kind of
you
stuff.
can do that, but if you gave me a can of beans right now, I could make that sound like a poem. That the ingredients on it.
Really?
Yeah, I could.
I wish I had a
So
tin of
it's
beans.
not-
Anyone got a tin of beans?
I think they're getting set up for here for lunch, but I don't think beans are on the menu today.
No, we're good for that.
Not very,
what I mean?
not
It's
very
good.
Caribbean, is it?
Yeah. But no, I was saying that I think anything could be made into poetry. Do you know what I'm saying? It's how you say it. That's the key thing. It doesn't have to rhyme. It could literally just be like your thoughts on a page.
Yeah.
And that's what I want young people to feel comfortable in, and expressing themselves, expressing how they feel. And then obviously we do have techniques that we use. We use like I said, similes and things like that. And we also use metaphors and
What
we
about
do.
iambic pentameter?
That's a new one. What's that?
I don't even know what it is.
You're teaching
I
me
just
something.
remember it from school.
Oh,
so-
is it?
Onomatopoeia, he said.
Oh, iambic pentameter.
Yeah, no, I ain't heard of
If
that.
anyone
so-
out there knows what iambic pentameter is, let us know.
Yeah, teach
Please
me.
let me know.
Yeah, but we try to make the sessions really fun and engaging. Do you know what I mean? It's tried to be as one of the things that are really important about workshops is being able to connect with the young people. Do you know what I'm saying? And making them feel safe. If you haven't got those two elements, then it doesn't matter how good your content is for the workshop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, it's always about connecting, and that's why it's important again for our team to be young as well, and to have lived experience of what our young people have gone through as well. So I'm probably the oldest on my team, and that's saying something. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's amazing. So how do you go? I mean, Jacqueline mentioned impact and you mentioned connection, and I saw on your website that you guys have impacted 30,000 young people and done over 850 workshops from 2015.
Yeah.
Firstly, how long are the programs? How did you fit all of this in?
I don't even know sometimes.
Are they a few weeks, a week? They must be.
Yeah,
quite-
so we do weekly events,
Right.
so on social media and on in person.
Right,
We also do some of the workshops are every 6 weeks, 6 weeks long. Some of them are 1 day workshops. We'll go into a school and deliver a taster workshop. Some of them are 10 weeks. So all of them are really varied. But we do a mixture of different stuff. So like I said, some of the stuff's around mental health. Some of it's around education. Some of it's around Black British history. Some of it's around physical health as well. So we do a lot of different things, and I think that's why we do so much. because obviously young people want different things. They don't want to just do one thing. They want to do other stuff. So
Yeah.
we try to make it as open to young people as possible. And by doing that, we provide loads of events and workshops
Yeah.
regularly. Do you know what I mean? If we
Yeah.
just do one event every month, that's not enough. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To support our community. So, and as much as we're based in Brixton, we support young people across the UK, not just in Brixton. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we do a lot of work online with young people that are outside of London as well. So yeah, that's how we do it.
And do you know what's also kind of struck me is that in what you've just shared as well is that you're unlocking some of the barriers towards. I mean, I mentioned the iambic pentameter. That was just a bit tongue in cheek,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
the poetry has often in the education system, it's been shrouded in all of this kind of mystique and
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
and it should be a certain way. And what you've said is that actually no, it's just about expressing yourself, and there are many different ways to produce poetry. So you're unlocking the barriers for many young people that probably didn't feel that maybe that was their realm or they could venture into that. And for you guys doing it, you are actually demonstrating physically. You're not just teaching and
Yeah.
from a point of view of telling, but you're actually showing through your own creations that is possible. So I think that's really, really special.
What's interesting that you're saying that is that I hated poetry in school. I didn't
I
like
was
it.
going to ask you actually.
Yeah,
what
the
you
way
were
it was
like in
taught, it
school.
was taught like so boring. Do you know what I mean? It just
That's
I
what
didn't
we'll say.
connect.
It's normally like it's boring, it's tedious.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll be honest with you.
Stuffy.
When we when we
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
schools and do workshops around poetry, a lot of the time young people have got their back up a bit. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, poetry, that's dry,
Not
man.
for me.
Yeah, it's not for me, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. But then when we show them what spoken word is, for example, obviously that's a different... So just to mention it, poetry is for the page and spoken word is for the stage. That's how we like to separate the two.
Right.
So spoken word is more performance-based. So when we show them about our spoken word and we perform to them, they're like, bro, I didn't know that's what poetry is. Do you see what I'm saying? So it kind of breaks down those barriers you was
Yeah.
mentioning. Because when we go in there, so we're doing a poetry workshop, already we've got that barrier up,
Yeah.
but then we just bring it down within the first 5-10 minutes of the session. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it
And
must
it's
be-
like rap as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is,
So
yeah.
It's a form of rapping. It's just
Rap stands for rhythm and poetry, by the way.
rhythm and What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We need a
Yeah, that's what we need a couple of those today still.
We're always learning, always
Yeah,
learning.
yeah.
All right.
And that's one of the things I tell young people as well, because a lot of them don't know that. So again, obviously, when I break that down to them, they're like, "Oh, so
Yeah.
poetry is cool." Do you know what I mean? Like kind of
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What's the general feedback that you get? I mean, I can see that you two are very passionate, which is beautiful to see. But what's the sort of general feedback that you get from the young people after they've gone through your workshop experiences? What are the kind of comments that you've heard? Feedback from
I'll let
the
you
young
answer.
people.
Oh, well, I think that's the best part for me. So I wrapped up a mental health workshop with Aisha, another cultural leader, and this was a couple of weeks ago, Animal, and one of the young boys and the young women were like, "Damn, like I feel so much love. I feel what did she say? Because we did this thing where we took a selfie and then
Yeah.
we commented on what we liked about the other person. So we started with the physical, but connected it to something deeper that we knew about the person that we had figured out over the 4 weeks. And they felt that it was just the smiles on their faces, the feedback we get. So we always take a video, and they're just they're just always so grateful for the space,
Yeah.
because it's always a safe space. We always make that clear.
Yeah.
Anything that comes out stays in that space.
Yeah.
So I think they're grateful for the space, grateful for the fact that it's accessible, and they just leave feeling like they were just accepted for who they were in that moment, and that was okay. And I think that's something missing from our society today. So I'm just so happy that I'm in a position with a group that is providing that kind of space for young people.
Yeah. So am I, actually. I'm grateful. And I've not seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to your performances later in a little while. And yeah, thank you for just taking some time to talk with us. Enjoy the rest of the day.
And
Thank
share
you,
your
ladies.
details actually before you go. Share where people can find you,
yeah.
where people can connect.
I'm on Instagram. It's J Gomez Nevers, and we are on Instagram, and that's Poetic Unity.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram as well at RagCV, RAGZCV. You can find Poetic Unity online as well, www.poeticunity.org.uk. We're on TikTok too, at Poetic Unity, and Twitter at _Poetic Unity. Also, I just wanted to say quickly as well, big up the Windrush generation.
Absolutely.
Because,
Absolutely.
my granddad's from Jamaica, and when he came here, he didn't come on a Windrush boat, but he came on a boat.
Okay.
So yeah. So like, I always like feel like, for me, when I think about the Windrush generation, I always think about my granddad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he was on a boat the same way, around the same time as well when he came here. He came here when he was 21 years old.
Wow.
So and yeah, he's had a big impact on my life. So without him, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you right now.
Big
Yeah.
up
big up all-
granddad.
Big up to
Big up the olders.
Big up the elders.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you both. Thank you both.
so much.
Okay, so now we're going to listen to some more jams and also the steel pan in the background, but we'll be back, so stay tuned to Colourful Radio.
Colourful.
Celebrating
Colourful.
Windrush Day.
Colourful Radio.